It certainly did affect my mental health. There was a time that I didn't even want to leave my apartment. It's hard enough being a multiracial transgender woman of color that I am, but try being that with a very disfigured face. Greetings, everyone. Rajee Narinesingh here, transgender activist, author, spiritualist, actress, show host, and reality TV personality. Today, I'm going to be talking about plastic surgery. And I'm curious to see what questions people have for me all the way across the pond. Do you regret having surgery given the botched experience you had to begin with? Well, I'm the type of person that I try to make lemonade out of lemons or really lemon meringue pie out of lemons. I could sit here and regret, but I try to look at the brighter side of life and the glass half full instead of half empty. So, yes, I have some regrets based on the different things I had to go through, a lot of the suffering. I mean, I'm still dealing with health issues from it. But then on the flip side, I've been able to use my story, take something bad that happened to me and try to do good with it by educating people all around the world about this sort of thing. If you change one thing in your life trajectory, so many other things would change. And thank God I can sit here to say today that even though this horrible thing happened to me, I've been blessed with many blessings. How does it feel being known for the traumatic experience of having concrete injected into your face? Can anyone say cement woman? That's what the press dubbed me. A lot of the media, especially online press, I was being called all sorts of names, and cement woman was one of them. I guess that means I'm pretty strong, right? If I'm made of cement. In a way, it's kind of like a bittersweet situation because I have received so much love from so many people around the world that are able to see my light and my love, basically use my story as an inspiration. But yeah, I can go online and find a lot of hateful comments about me in regards to me going down the black market road, people calling me stupid and, I need to shoot myself in the head and, what am I, calling me it and all kind of nasty things that have been said. I have chosen to focus on the love. There's so much more like love and support than the hate. I was in an airport some years ago and I was sitting in the terminal and I looked up and it was a little old lady, probably about 80 years old. And she comes over and she says, "Sorry to bother you, but I just want to say, I know who you are. I recognize you and I want to thank you because you've been an inspiration to me." And when I tell you in that moment, I got goose pimples all over me because I'm thinking, what do I and me and this lady have in common? I mean, she's a white American woman. She's of a different generation because, like I said, she was almost 80 years old. And I said to myself, you know what? It's a human connection. People can relate to that going through the dark tunnel and getting to the other end, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. And maybe our stories and our worlds are very different, but there was something about me that she could relate to and it inspired her. When things like that happen to me, oh my God, I am so humbled. I just feel like so extremely blessed because I know that this black market stuff could have been my demise. And it's amazing how the very thing you think will be your demise can end up manifesting into so many wonderful blessings. Would you recommend cosmetic surgery if it's going to make you feel better about yourself and give you more confidence? Yes, but I would say that you should definitely do your research. Check out the doctor that you're going to. Look at some of, the patients that he's done. You can go online nowadays and really do your research. Definitely do that before you do any sort of cosmetic surgery. But again, it goes back to making yourself feel good, your self-esteem and being able to go out in the world with your head up. This is where beauty becomes very, very important. And let me tell you, everyone on some level, just about everyone, there's probably a small percentage of people that don't think about their appearance. But I would say even men, you know, they have their image. They go and get their hair cut a certain style. Some grow a beard. Some are clean shaven. Some wear that baseball cap. You know, we all have, like RuPaul said, we all have a drag. It does become important, and every society has their concept of what beauty is. Wow. What would you say to people who view cosmetic surgery as being unnatural? I mean, look at me. Don't I look natural? I just rolled out of bed. Yeah. I only took 5 minutes to get ready for this interview. I mean, come on, think about it. Even the most beautiful person, when they wake up in the morning, they got to get it together. They got to do something. You know how you see some pictures online or in ads and the women look really natural? It took a lot of makeup to make them look that natural. People have a right to their own opinions, okay? But for me, if I want to make myself, I call it decorating myself. If I like decorating myself a certain way and it's going to make me feel better when I go out into the world, then I say tough to all the people that call me unnatural. Tough. How did the botched cosmetic surgery experience affect your mental health? Can anyone say PTSD, agoraphobia, depression? It certainly did affect my mental health. There was a time that I didn't even want to leave my apartment. Just going out in public was so difficult for me. You know, it's hard enough being a multiracial transgender woman of color that I am, but try being that with a very disfigured face. And so I would go out in public and people would laugh and make fun. I remember one time I was in the supermarket and this guy came up to me and he just said to me, like in a very rude way, "What the fuck happened to your face?" And I looked at him like, "Excuse me?" It's one thing to say, "What happened to your face?" Like in a concerned type of way. But he was doing it in a very mean, I would say, type of way. And then when my story went viral, I was dealing with all the media because literally I was thrusted into the world media pretty much overnight. The next day I was getting calls from like all over, Germany TV, Spanish TV, CNN, all sorts of media. So I was thrusted into the media. And then when I started to like go online and read some of the comments, it did get me depressed because I'm like, my God, can't these people see my content of character, like the person that I am, my essence? Thank God I got a good therapist. And I recommend therapy to anyone. Oh, it says, what was transitioning in the 90s like? Do you think it would have been easier to come out today? Yes, hell yes. I think it would have been easier to come out today if I was here in America or in England or, someplace like that. When I answer questions about being transgender, I always try to look at the global aspect and kind of answer in that respect. We've come a long way here in America, we trans people, but we still have a long way to go. When you really take a deeper look, you still find that there may be issues. Maybe they're tolerating it, but they haven't really fully accepted it. I always say, I don't want to be tolerated. I want to be respected as a fellow human being. I try to be, conscious and aware of the good things that are happening for our community here. And also not forget my transgender sisters and brothers. We older trans people, we really did pave the way. Like, I look at a lot of the younger trans people today and I think, my God, girl, if you only knew what like someone like myself went through when I was doing, like, let's say in the late 80s, early 90s, when I was doing gender non-conforming, non-binary, back then we called it androgynous. They were throwing bottles and It was not a pretty thing, especially going out into society and trying to maneuver. If you were a performer like Prince or Boy George, that was one thing. But if you were gender nonconforming or non binary and just trying to live in everyday society, people had a really big problem with that. When I look at the gender nonconforming, non binary community now, and I say to they have a movement and everything, and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. I'm so happy that it's come to that point. But I laugh and say, I was doing that like over 20 years ago, when it was not a pretty thing. At what point in your life did you decide you wanted to have cosmetic work done? When I look at pictures of me from when I was little, like I could see my beauty. And a lot of people that I share pictures of when I was a little kid, they're like, oh my God, you were so adorable. You were so cute. When I was growing up, that's not what I was hearing. Kids like really picked on me horribly. It was not only for me being an effeminate little boy, but also because of my me being mixed race, multiracial. And so it was like a double whammy. Oftentimes I felt like I was so ugly. The bullying, the relentless bullying, and it wasn't only name calling, it was beat downs and that sort of thing, pulls away at your spirit. I think a lot of LGBTQ people go through this, especially transgender males to females and very effeminate gay men, because there's something about like misogyny in the world and like being born male and the world interpreting it as you're negating your maleness, like you're rejecting it. When you're picked on, you're constantly bullied and pulled down, it plays on your self-esteem, your self-worth, how you view yourself. That kind of plays into like me in adulthood, starting to transition and feeling like I'm not looking the way I should look. I was going out and seeing the other trans women, and they were looking so beautiful, very feminized in the face and voluptuous. So it was the peer pressure of that, a safety thing too, because in those days, the less you looked like a man in a dress, and no offenses, no offense to men in dresses, the less you were going to be harassed when you went out into public. Some point I just felt like, God, I have to do it. I have to like do some sort of alterations to my body and my face, kind of like that rite of passage too, because in the community back then, if you didn't get pumped, and that's what we called it, like going to get pumped, getting black market injections. The girls were kind of looking at you like you're not taking it serious. You'd be judged. So it was a lot of things that played into my decision to go for the black market injection. Do you ever feel judged by people? And if so, how do you deal with that? When I was 4 years old, they were calling me faggot. And here I am, and just an innocent child being my natural, innocent self. And already I was being judged. I have felt judged for the majority of my life. If, if I spent my time worrying about everyone that judges me, I'd be in the corner with a dribble cup. I'd be crazy. You cannot please everyone. And it took me a while to learn that lesson. Of course, we want people to love us. We want people to like us. You can't live for other people. You have to live for yourself. When you're living your authentic truth, that's when you can be your optimal life. You can live your optimal life when you're living your authentic truth. And you will have people that love you and accept you for who you are. It's impossible to please everyone. Not everyone is going to like you. The point is, live your life, be kind and good to yourself. And you will have people that do like you and that do accept you for who you are. Do you think some people take cosmetic surgery too far? The answer is yes. In life, everything is really balanced. Water is good for us to drink, but if you drink too much water, it can hurt you. There's a balancing act that happens in life, and I think that goes for all areas of life. I had 9 facial surgeries to help repair my face. And I know it's still not perfect, but I think I have come a long way. I could get up every day and look in the mirror and, find things about myself that need to be fixed. When it's all said and done, this body is just temporary anyway. I'm taking time to really nurture my spirit because that's the thing that I believe is eternal. I do think there has to be a limit. You have to find of some sort of peace and find some sort of like contentment. I've come to the end of the questions. It was really fun answering your questions. You all can hit me up on Instagram, Rajee _botched and I'm on Facebook, Rajendra Narain I'm on YouTube. All right, on that note, I want to wish everyone love, happiness, peace, good health, prosperity, and many wonderful blessings.